Today we are doing something that is so full of flavor you just will not believe it. We are doing a chili Colorado fire roasted pork tenderloin over some fire grilled vegetables, and we're finishing it with a chimichurri sauce. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time tuning in, let us know you're out there by giving us a big thumbs up below, and then hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss a video. Now, let's start cooking. So we are doing a chili Colorado fire grilled pork tenderloin. And the most important thing about this recipe is actually the sauce. This is a chili Colorado sauce, and the chili Colorado really just, it has nothing to do with the state of Colorado. It refers to the color of the sauce. It's the color red, basically rado in Spanish in the color. So Colorado or red chili sauce. If you were to go to New Mexico, they would probably call it red chili sauce. But anyhow, for this sauce today, we are using guajillo chilies. And a guajillo chili is a chili from Zacatecas, Mexico. And it's really the dried version of a mirasol pepper. And a mirasol pepper is a pepper that has it's about a medium heat. You can also use an Anaheim pepper or a poblano pepper. And a poblano pepper, the dried version of that, is called an ancho chile. So if you see something that has ancho chile peppers, that is a pepper that is a poblano that has been dried. And it's actually a little bit less spicy than this one. So the one we're using again today is called a guajillo chili, guajillo. And this pepper, you could also substitute a New Mexico chili pepper for this pepper, but it's just got it's got the right amount of heat and the right color and everything for it. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to get these peppers, we're going to bring them to the boil and soak them. But the first thing we need to do is de-seed them, and I've already done the rest of them. I'm just going to take the stem off and just open it up just like this and simply empty the seeds out. And it's not going to kill anybody if you get a couple of seeds in there, because we're actually going to be blending this sauce once we bring it to a boil. So we're just going to cover this up with some water, and we're going to add our onion, which you see here is one of our other ingredients. So just to get started, we'll add our onion in with the pepper. We're going to put that on the heat, and we're going to turn that on and bring it to a boil. And once it comes to the boil, we will take it off and cover it and let it set for about 5 minutes. While that's coming to the boil, let's work on the other elements of our dish. So the rest of our ingredients are, we've got 3 garlic cloves here, and I've just left them pretty much whole. Actually, this is 1 garlic clove that was huge, so I cut it in half. And then I've got another garlic clove. We've got a couple of bay leaves. We've got about 10 peppercorns here, black peppercorns. And I've actually got 10 whole cloves. We're going to add that to the mix. We're going to cover everything with, I've got about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and a cup and a half of chicken stock. And then we're just going to put a couple of other herbs in it, and those are oregano, and we've got some ground cumin. And those will be our seasonings. Now, what I'll do, while we're waiting for our chiles to come to the boil, we're going to look at our pork, and we'll get that prepared. I didn't mention this oil here. I've just got a little bit of grapeseed oil that we will use when we get ready to, we'll cook our sauce a little bit once we get that all blended. But let's take a look at our pork and get it cleaned and trimmed. And again, I'm using pork tenderloin today for this. You could also use pork shoulder or any cut of pork that you would like. And pork tenderloins usually come fairly fairly well trimmed. This one has a little bit of silver skin, so we'll attempt to take some of that silver skin off. And the way we do that is you just want to get your knife right underneath that, just like that, using a sharp knife. And you can actually just pull it off just like that. So that's the best way to do that. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot of fat on this tenderloin. And even if there was, I probably wouldn't take it off. We're going to be grilling this today over fire, so we don't actually mind leaving some of that fat on there. There's a little bit of fat on the end here. We'll take that off because it's just not gonna help us out at all. But that should probably do it. And let's take a little bit more of this. Got a few more bits of silver skin that we can take off. And you need to take silver skin off because it doesn't break down and it's not pleasant to eat or to try to chew. All right, so that's one tenderloin trimmed. And this other one looks like it's in really good shape. Now the sauce doesn't have a lot of like salt in it, so we're going to go ahead and season our pork. And you could season this as simply as salt and pepper, but I'm actually going to put some of my pork rub on this pork, just because I want a little bit more flavor. And my pork rub, I will put the recipe for this rub down below in the comment section. But I'm just I've drizzled it with a little bit of grapeseed oil. You could use olive oil, what have you. And now we will just season this fairly liberally with some of Chef Walter's pork rub. There we go. And get that nice and well seasoned all over. This sauce, by the way, can be used for chicken as well, or you could use it for beef. You just might want to season your beef or your chicken a little bit differently. Okay, so we've got our rub on there, and I'm actually going to just go ahead. I'm just going to put a few holes throughout this, just to let this, see if some of that sauce or some of that seasoning can seep in to the meat. There we go. Since pork is a relatively thick, this tenderloin is a relatively thick cut, we just want to make sure we get some of that seasoning all the way through, and then once we get our sauce on there, that's going to be even more well seasoned. Okay. All right, our chilies and onion have come to the boil, and we're now just going to cover that. We're going to cover it for about 5 minutes, and that'll give those time to soften up and continue to get flavored with that onion. We've got our pork ready, and we're just going to wait about 5 minutes, and we will finish our sauce. You ever have fajitas, or you go somewhere and you get a nice mixture of supposedly skillet, fried vegetables, and they just have no flavor whatsoever? Well, the reason for that is because they haven't been seasoned. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're just going to do a mixture of fajita vegetables, but we're going to season them and let them sit and get actually flavorful before we cook them. Our peppers have come to the boil, and we covered them and we let them sit for about 5 minutes, and oh wow, what an incredible aroma coming out of that pot. Now we're not going to use this water, so what we're going to do, but we're also not going to toss it away. So we keep this water just in case our mixture is a little bit drier than we want it to be. then we can go back in with some of this pepper water and it will just taste fantastic. And the onions are nice and soft. So we'll put all of this in our blender. And look at the color of that water already. And that's just all from the peppers. All right, and now we just add in the rest of our ingredients. We've got our pepper, our black peppercorns, got our cloves, we've got our garlic, believe it or not, our bay leaves go in there just whole, just like that. And I'm adding probably about a half teaspoon of oregano. And the same thing with cumin. And you can always go back and modify any of these things. And we'll add our apple cider vinegar. And let's just cover everything with our chicken stock. Perfect. And now we will just let this blend. I'm just going to pulse it at first. There we go. And turn it on high and let it go. All right, let's take a look at our sauce. Oh, yes, look at that. Very nice. And let's just give it a taste. I'm really just tasting for the balance of the acid. We haven't seasoned this yet with salt, so we're not looking for salt, but we're just wanting to make sure we have plenty of our apple cider vinegar in there and our chicken stock. We do have plenty of chicken stock. We might need to put just a little bit more of our apple cider vinegar in there, but other than that, I can taste the oregano. Might go in with just a little bit more cumin. I just really like that cumin flavor. So that's going to be it for our sauce. We'll get that mixed in and then we'll use this as our marinade. Okay, so the next step in our sauce is actually to cook the sauce. Right now, it actually has a fairly raw flavor, just tastes like raw peppers. But you saw me taste it. It's not hot. This chili pepper is not a hot pepper. It's just very flavorful, especially once it's cooked. So we are going to add this to our pan. We've got some oil in here that we're just bringing up on some medium heat. Once that oil gets to where it's fairly hot, we're going to add this sauce in. And we're going to let it cook for probably about 5 minutes because we want it to reduce and thicken up a little bit, and that will intensify its flavor. But and as well as that beautiful color. Already, you can see already how beautiful that color is. It's a beautiful red color. But we want to let this oil heat up, and then you have to, when you do this, do it very carefully because you might get a little bit of splatter as you put that sauce in the pan. When your oil gets hot enough, you'll see a little bit of shimmer and you'll start rippling a little bit. So that's when it's time to add the sauce into it, and we're just going to add that right in. And just being very careful not to let it splash upon you, because whatever you're wearing will then become red for life. But then we're just gonna cook this sauce around for about 5 minutes. And I'm keeping this heat fairly high, probably on a medium high. We just don't want it popping out or bubbling out. But we're just gonna cook, and we just stir it from time to time. And we want this sauce to reduce and intensify in flavor. Our sauce has been going literally for about 5 minutes, and look at that. You can see how thick it is. And now just let me say a word about this sauce. Again, this sauce is it's not a hot sauce. It's nice and flavorful. It tastes like the peppers. But if you wanted to add a little bit of spice to it, you could certainly put in a chili arbol or something like that that's got a little bit more heat to it, or even a a jalapeno if you wanted to, or a serrano pepper. But let's give it a taste. Well, it's really intensified in flavor. And now, again, this sauce is mainly going to be a marinade, and we're going to be basting with it. So it's important to remember you have to season your meat, because this sauce has no salt in it as it is. You know, if you wanted to use it as a dressing sauce for after cooking something, you would need to season it with salt, because there's no presence of salt in it just yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pour this sauce off, and we're going to let it cool down for a few minutes, and then we will coat our pork with it. Now the fun part. All right, our pork has been seasoned, and we are just now going to stick that in a freezer bag, a Ziploc bag, what have you, and our sauce is cooled down enough to where it's not going to cook our meat. So I'm going to put probably about half of the sauce in the bag, and we will work that around and let that marinate our meat. And now we're just going to leave that for probably about an hour really at the minimum. I mean, you could literally leave this 24 hours. You could leave it overnight or what have you. But at the very minimum, you want to let it marinate for about an hour. And in this case today, we're going to be fire grilling this. You could certainly put this in your oven to cook it, but we are going to be cooking it on an open fire today, or on a grill with a wood grill. All tidy and ready to be marinated. We're going to put this in the refrigerator for about an hour, and we're going to get our fire going, and then we will pull it out and we will cook it.
Hey everybody, it's Walter from Artistic Gourmet Adventures. My wife Kim and I own this unique small group tour company where we host groups of 6 to 12 guests for 1 week luxury adventures in beautiful locations throughout Europe and the United States. I have the privilege of being the adventure chef, creating and preparing daily gourmet meals for our guests. So, in this video series, from our cozy home kitchen here in the beautiful Loire Valley of France, we will demonstrate a wide variety of recipes, from culinary classics to originals, as well as covering professional kitchen techniques for the home chef. For more information on Artistic Gourmet Adventures, check our website, linked in the description below.
One of the best ways I know to finish off some grilled meat, some pork, some chicken, some beef, is with a chimichurri sauce. And a chimichurri sauce really comes from the concept of the churrascaria in Argentina and Brazil and Uruguay. And so an authentic chimichurri sauce is really based on parsley, but because we do a lot of things that are more Mexican based, I'm going to use a combination of parsley and cilantro. So basically what we have here is I've got a half a cup of whatever your green is, and in this case I've got a mix of parsley and cilantro, quite finely chopped, and we are just going to set that aside. And you're going for probably about about the same volume of oil that you're going to use. So the recipe is, let's go in half cups, because that's what I'm doing here. I've got basically a half cup of greens, which is parsley and cilantro in my case. Got a half cup of olive oil, and this is, not your top shelf salad olive oil, but it's a good extra virgin olive oil. And I've got a couple of tablespoons of red wine vinegar. And it's important that you use red wine vinegar and not apple cider vinegar or white vinegar or something like that. Just for the authentic flavor is a red wine vinegar. And now I've got 2 chili peppers here. And what I'm going to do is chop these up, and you can use one or both of them. But because what I have here are very hot peppers. This is a scud chili from Thailand, and this is a Thai red chili pepper. So I'm going to chop these up, but I'm going to use them fairly sparingly. I may use half of each one, and probably not even seed. I'll probably seed them as well because they can be quite spicy. And we've got about a half teaspoon of oregano, and we're going to season it with some salt and some freshly ground black pepper, and that will be our sauce. And we'll put it together. I'll get the chilies chopped and we'll put it all together. And if you don't happen to have fresh peppers like this, you can always use some chili pepper flakes, red chili pepper flakes, and that will do the job as well. All right, now for the good part. We are just going to put this together, and I'm just going to empty all of our ingredients into the bowl. And you know, this is really just an infused, flavor infused olive oil. Oh, and you know what? We forgot one ingredient, and that is garlic. And I'm using a coarse sea salt here. And we will just put that in, just like that. Yummy. All right. Garlic in there. And now black pepper to taste. Really, it's just kind of depends on what your palate likes. And I can tell you right now, I know I want at least half of these chilies in here. So we're just going to put a little bit of our pepper in there. And this really needs to sit for, I would say, an hour. I mean, you can use it after 10 minutes or so, but you know, giving it a good hour is a lot better. Let's taste it. Oh, it's wonderful, full of flavor. Needs a little bit more salt, but it actually helps to use a really good olive oil to when you're doing this, rather than just you don't want to use a light olive oil or anything like that. You want to use one that's that you don't mind eating raw. All right, a bit of salt, a little bit more pepper, and again, just give this a little bit of time for those flavors to come together. Now, when I tasted that a second ago, I could barely taste the peppers, but I'm not going to add them just yet. I'm gonna let it sit for probably 10 minutes. Taste it again, because it takes those peppers a few minutes to kind of release all their flavor and their power. So, and you know, even as little peppers I put in there, I can already feel that pepper kind of coming to the fore. So that's why you don't want to go ahead and put all that pepper in at once. And you may want to make sure, you may want to even wear gloves when you're handling peppers like this. And you just want to make sure you don't go and, you know, wipe your eyes or anything like that. But we'll let this sit for a little bit, and we'll come back and taste it and make any adjustments that we need to. These vegetables have been sitting now for probably about 15 minutes, and I'm actually going to do these on the grill today with one of those little baskets that has holes in it. So I'm going to liberally oil these vegetables with some olive oil, and we're just going to mix that around, and that will be what we need to do these on the grill. So that's all seasoned and ready to go. Let's hit the grill. All right, I'm going to put my grill basket in the grill. It's heated up now to about 450 degrees. No, it's 550 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in and let that get quite hot, and then we'll put our vegetables in. And in the meantime, we'll prepare our meat for going on the grill as well. I am just getting all of that marinade that was on the meat. Just make sure we get it spread onto it. And wow, does that smell good. Oh my goodness. Okay, our grill basket for our vegetables should be nice and hot by now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, we actually ended up using our gas grill, but I've got some wood chips here, so that's why we're getting a little smoke. And I'm just going to move this over so that we can put our veggies on one side. Oh, nice. That is what we want. So we'll let those get started. And we will also go ahead and put our pork on the grill. Just like that. And like that. So we've got quite a high heat going right now. And we want to go ahead and get everything seared with this high heat. And then at one point we may turn one of the burners off so that we're not burning the outside of our meat, but we still have the heat, the ambient heat in the grill going. So we'll let that go a few minutes, and then we'll check it and turn things as we need to. As a matter of fact, let's look at our vegetables right now. This is quite hot for those, so yeah, we'll go ahead and turn those about. Let's take another look at our vegetables. Everything is still searing nicely. Ah, beautiful. All right, that's great. And taking a look at our pork, let's see what we're getting here. Oh, look at that. Yep, we're getting some grill marks. We're going to let that go for a little bit more. And with this pork, what we're going for, it's a tenderloin, so it cooks quite quickly. We're going for an internal temperature of about 155 degrees. We want it to be about 155 when we take it off, because you need to eat pork at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, or 68 centigrade is about the same as 155 Fahrenheit. That's when we'll take it off. And we're just gonna tint it with some aluminum foil, and we'll let it rest for about 10 minutes, and by that time it will go up to the temperature that you want. So make sure you understand that the temperature you want to eat pork at is 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 71 degrees centigrade. But you don't want to cook it until it's that temperature when you take it off the grill, because if you do, and when it rests, it's going to be overcooked. So we've got our nice grill marks. Let's turn these. Ah, nice. Very good. We'll turn these guys and let them continue to cook. And let's move our vegetables around. Looks like we got one escapee. We can just put him back in there, and we'll let it continue to cook. All right, we've been going for about another 5 minutes, so let's check our meat. Oh, that's looking nice. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and I'm gonna baste with some of our sauce. And that's, we're basting the first side, the initial side that we started grilling on, because we're close to getting ready to turn this meat, and we'll let that cook a little longer that way. And let's look at our vegetables. And these vegetables are just about done. I just think that, you know, you don't want to overcook these vegetables, and they've got nice. Oh, I think they're ready. Let's just taste an onion. Mmm, it's fabulous. That's really great. Okay, these vegetables are ready to go. We are going to go ahead and take those out, and we can tint them for a little bit if we need to. So our vegetables, we'll tint them and let them wait until we finish our meat, but our meat is, I think, is just about ready as well. getting nice and firm. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it one more time here. And all right, I'm going to take these off. All right, we have let this meat rest, and let us just give it a test and see where we are. Oh, beautiful. Oh, nice. Oh, it's very tender. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Let's get it sliced and we'll give it a taste. All right, we are finished with our Chili Colorado fire grilled pork tenderloin, and now we're just gonna finish it with a little bit of our chimichurri sauce. Oh man, look at that. Oh. And serving this over our fire roasted vegetables. Let's give it a taste. All right. Now, you could serve this with some, refried beans and rice. We decided to go healthy today and just do the grilled vegetables. Oh my goodness. So the pork itself is just an incredible flavor, just very unique. You've got those cloves in there, you've got the oregano, and again, it's not a spicy sauce, it's just a very different flavor. Where you get your spice is if you were to add the chimichurri sauce. And again, this is kind of a Mexican take on an authentic Argentinian or Uruguayan or Brazilian chimichurri sauce, where we've added a little bit of cilantro instead of just the parsley. And these grilled vegetables are just unbelievable, just such depth of flavor. I hope you'll give this a try. It's very easy and just takes a little bit of time, but man, what a delicious meal. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, give us a thumbs up below and hit that subscribe button. It's free. And ring the bell if you want to be notified as soon as we release a new video. Also, let us know in the comments if you have any special recipe requests. We really appreciate you tuning in. See you next time.